On the 19th of January 2020, I woke up and something occurred to me. It was like a revelation. The word apocalypse. I knew with every fibre of my being, psychically, that the word apocalypse was not what we are led to believe it means. I was 100% sure. I started to pensively think about the word apocalypse. Epoch makes me think of epoch. Calypse makes me think of collapse, like the collapse of an epoch. Also, the beginning of the words, the AP and the O, remind me of Apollo. So is there a connection there? But I needed to look it up. I've always been interested in the etymology of words, so the pure origin, how words are formed, and there's actually so many more hidden meanings in words than meets the eye. And also there is the idea that word meanings have changed over time. Sometimes that's for various reasons, but one aspect of it is that it has been deliberate. So words' meanings have been deliberately changed in order to brainwash people or to change people's minds and perceptions. And humanity have gone through series of epoch, and the word epoch is used, for example, in terms of the founding of Rome or the birth of Christ. And right now we're in a new epoch. So I look up the word apocalypse, and what do I find? The real meaning is actually to take the covers off. In other words, to reveal, to unmask. It is about revelation, disclosure, to uncover, disclose, reveal. That's the Greek word apocalyptein. So the believed meaning of apocalypse, meaning a cataclysmic event, is actually modern. This feeling has been further expounded, obviously, in Hollywood movies, where they're wanting to portray a sense of doom, chaos, catastrophe, everything that is the opposite of God. Does God really destroy? Or do a certain group of people, or whatever negative energy you like to put to it, create the chaos and destruction? Which is it? God, in essence, is a creator. So anything that destroys is the opposite of creation. But in essence, nothing can be destroyed, for energy can only be transmuted, changed into something else. That is the core concept of energy healing, where we do not destroy negative energy, we transmute it, we change it to something else, we raise its vibration. Heaven is a place of high vibration. Hell would be a place of low vibration, and you can live in heaven or hell at any moment of your life. But is hell a natural construct or an actual construct? So it's interesting that word came to me in January, where I didn't know about the coronavirus at that time, or at least definitely didn't know of its impact globally. I don't know that 100%, but that's my presumption at this point. But regardless, it's interesting that word came up to me suddenly during that time, and then I just remembered it today. So I looked it up again today, and I came across a forum where someone else had actually had the revelation. Apocalypse doesn't necessarily mean what we're led to believe it means. So take a look at what this person wrote. I always thought that apocalypse meant the end of the world. To say that the true meaning caught me by surprise would be an understatement. And that's including my knowledge about Revelation and other Bible-related stuff. So this person had looked it up and had seen that in Greek, apocalypse means uncovering, like revelation. And we are so in the times of revelation. So being in a forum, another person chimed in, and this person wrote, yes, that is one of the few words I think have been blackwashed, i.e. to make look bad, but that might be positive. So this person also figured out that the word anarchy doesn't mean what we are led to believe it means. It actually means without a leader. Isn't that interesting? Really think about that. And also another one, so this is a smaller example, but the word Luddite is, we're led to believe it means anti-technology, but it actually means anti-serving the tech. Interesting. So when we come back to the word apocalypse, meaning revelation, unconcealing, what is the opposite of that? Concealment. Hiding. And that's what the darkness does, whether it's through darker energy, entities, or a person, or a group of people, or institutions. So you could apply that to those who want to control the world, want to be in power, and want to overtake. The ones who are psychopathic, self-serving, the destructors of the world. And one of the tools they use is mind control and also playing around with people's perceptions, mind programming. Isn't it interesting that the word program we use for television because our minds are being programmed? And imagine the psychology of people looking all googly-eyed at the TV screen, or any screen for that matter, in this day and age, and being brainwashed over time. I do give us some credit. We're not necessarily all walking around like brainwashed zombies. However, you get the point. In my newsletter, I spoke recently about my revelations about the word COVID-19. Co meaning to, vid relating to vision, like double vision, like 2020. And although it is the number 19 because it started late 2019, 2020 is really the year where it really has affected so many people, the world globally. So I was curious also about the word virus. It initially comes from the word Latin virus, meaning poisonous substance or poison, the sap of plants, slimy liquid, a potent juice. And later it was changed to mean an agent that causes infectious disease. And of course we have natural poisons, venoms, and then we have unnatural. Just food for thought. Then we have the word corona. Corona is connected with the word Latin crown, a crown or garland, especially from ancient Rome, and especially bestowed for distinguished military service. Interesting. One of the things that has really drawn my attention are these symbols of the coronavirus. We're being bombed on the news all the time, and an imagery on the internet of the biological picture of the virus as a sphere with spokes on it. So I found out that coronavirus is so called for the spikes that protrude from its membranes that resemble the tines of a crown or the corona of the sun. there are the two crown constellations, the Corona Borealis, and that's connected to the fable, the Crown of Ariadne, and also the Corona Australis. So there's the astronomical idea of a luminous circle that is observed around the sun. This is the meaning of the corona, during total eclipses. Interesting. In December 2019, when the coronavirus is said to have started in Wuhan, and there was another eclipse in January 2020. The next set of eclipses will be in June and July, and then later in the year, in late November and mid-December, when there's a total solar eclipse. So it'll be interesting to see how things pan out for the rest of 2020 in connection to the corona. One more thing, there's that word pandemonium, meaning chaos. And it relates to Pan. Think about Peter Pan. Think about the word pandemic. And just like there is the god Apollo, there is the god Pan. Where do we get the word panic? From the god Pan. Etymology, interesting, isn't it? Now, there's a connection between Pan and Cronus, and that makes you think of Cronus, chronological time. Time is an aspect I've spoken of before. There's that sense of, I think it was Einstein who said that, connected to the theory of relativity, that time is an illusion. Isn't it interesting? Now time has almost stopped. What is time? Is time a construct? What did I say about construction before? Oh yes, there are true constructions, creations, and then there's deconstruction, isn't there? Destruct, destroy. That would be not of God's hands, in my opinion. So interesting food for thought, and I encourage you to really think about the true meaning behind words and how we may have had the wool pulled over our eyes in terms of some words, like I mentioned also in a recent newsletter. Why do they call things the breaking news? Why are they called newscasters? Because they cast their fishing rods into us, little fishies who take the bait, hook, line and sinker. Then we have the word spellcast, so you can see how it all connects. Speaking of spellcasting, I'm going to end with the last word, Hollywood. And years ago, I started listening to a grand etymologist. His name is Jordan Maxwell. He's brilliant. If you like to get deeply into this, it's really hard to understand. It's quite intellectual, but it's fascinating. Might be a bit dry, but if you're interested in the meaning of words and how it connects to truth on earth, beyond conspiracy, definitely look up Jordan Maxwell. So through him, I learned about Hollywood. So why do they call it Hollywood? Well, the ancient Druids made magical wands for their magical rites, magical spells, out of holly wood. So their wands were made out of holly wood. And so Hollywood weaves its magic through its spellcasters with their holly wood, holly wands, the magic. So this connects to what I was saying before about magic being cast through the screens, through a kind of programming psychological, energetic spell casting. So to finish off, I just want to share that after this recording, a few hours later, I happened to be listening to someone speak on a YouTube video, and she mentioned, funnily enough, the word apocalypse, which is definitely a sign on its own just to hear that word after making this recording. But on top of that, she actually said pretty much similar to what I have been saying, which is the word is not what everyone thinks it means. It just means to reveal. And that was amazing. So that was a really big synchronicity. On top of that, after I went for a walk with my kids outside, and when we checked the letterbox, there was a newspaper in it, and I saw the words epoch in big writing, as well as later I saw virus and pandemic. A lot of the words I've been using today. And this was in a newspaper that we've never received before. We've never received any kind of reading material like that about the coronavirus in our postbox for all these weeks. So it just happened to come today. And also it was an alternative kind of newspaper, Truth Media, that is anti-political. So I thought that was really interesting. And, beyond a coincidence. So that just goes to show you how spirit works in bringing messages through, but also in validating signs, messages, intuitions that you receive.